Well, it's April 21st. I'm out here at the property again working on some habitat management. Some things that we're going to be doing today is finishing up some work on pH. I'm going to be planting some stuff in here, not a lot, but a little bit. And there's a range that you have to be within in order to get the most production from what it is that you're trying to plant. So if we're looking at such things as some clover and some winter rye and maybe some buckwheat, you need to have a range that will allow that to prosper here. I've taken samples from 3 different areas here, and we're going to compare so that we get an accurate idea of what the pH is in this area. So 3 different samples, we'll bring those home and see what we come up with. I've done 2 methods of pH testing. The first was with a meter. Picked it up on eBay. It was pretty inexpensive, supposed to measure moisture, light, and pH. And my first impression was that the light meter worked really good, the moisture meter worked really good, but the pH meter hardly seemed to move. It goes from a range of about 3 up to 8. And when I would test for the pH with that, it would come down from the 8 where it rested to about the lower portion of 7, which to me doesn't seem quite right. And so I went and got a different pH kit and tried that. I got the pH kit from Ely Seed and Feed. They have them there. They're only about $6, and you can do 10 tests for about $6. And basically what you do is you put a little portion of your sample in the bottom of it and some chemical from a little capsule, and then you pour in the water to fill to a fill line on there. Shake it up, let it sit, and see what you come up with. I was surprised again to see that my first sample came out at 6.5 and my second 2 samples came out at about 6.3, which is a lot better than what I expected. Now that range puts everything that I want to plant within the area or within the range that I want to should have. The recommendations are anything from, depending on what type of clover, 5.8 to 7, and the rest of them are 6 to 7. And so being in that range of 6.3 to 6.5, I should be in really good shape. Now, I have a friend who has a geology degree, and he was a little surprised too when I came up with those numbers here, but he did a little looking around. And a theory that's out there is that one of the lobes of the last glacier that came down, and I think if I remember correctly, he told me it was the Rainy lobe, that came from the Hudson Bay lowlands, where there was some limestone that was brought down with that glacier and probably deposited in this area. So with that limestone being here, that would sweeten up the pH of the ground here by quite a bit. And it takes a big load off of my mind, because I'd heard horror stories of people working with food plots and having to bring in hundreds of pounds of lime per acre in order to sweeten it up enough to make something grow. And I think I'm going to be very lucky here in terms of being able to get by with what's here without having to bring any lime in. So whatever the reason, if it's a matter of the glacier helping me out or for some other factor, I'm grateful for it, and it's going to save me a lot of time and a little bit of money in order to make this work.